had me thinking, like, how? It's almost like he had more hours in the day. Like, it was almost like a shame on me. I shouldn't be resting right now. I should be doing. But you need to understand that rest is repair.
Hello and welcome to the Dirt Track Confessions podcast with your host, Mandee Pauch Mahaney. Dirt Track Confessions begins in 3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome to Dirt Track Confessions. I'm your host, Mandee Pauch Mahaney. So this week's episode totally inspired me from a book that I'm currently reading. Now, the book is all about how to stop worrying. Don't we all need this book? Yes. So we live in such an anxious society. I felt that it just falls into place with what I really enjoy sharing with you guys. Now, I've been getting, again, such incredible feedback on everything. Like, we were at the indoor races. I'm at my nephew's basketball game, and I just really appreciate all of you who, pull me to the side and just tell me the way that we're connecting together through this and how much it's helping you. And it means so much. And so with this book, I was like, okay, you need to hear this. So the key of this is how to add 1 hour a day into your life. How can we add an extra hour into our day when we're all given the same 24 hours a day? The answer is by resting. Yes, by resting, but most importantly, resting before you get tired. What I thought was really intriguing by this is that in the book, it talks about the United States Army and how they discovered by repeating tests that even young men, men who are tough, they can go through all the seasons, everything you can possibly even think of that they go through. Years of training to be in the Army, they can march better, they can hold up longer if they throw down their packs and they rest 10 minutes out of every hour. This is something that the Army forces them to do, is just that. They force them to rest. I don't know how I'm just learning this, but I think that's amazing and it makes so much sense. So we're going to dive into that. If you think about this I thought I was mind blown by. So your heart is just as smart as the Army. Your heart pumps enough blood through your body every day to fill a railway tank car. Yes, think about that. It exerts enough energy every 24 hours to shovel 20 tons of coal onto a platform 3 feet high. Now, okay, this book I am reading was totally made in the 1900s, so that's why we're referencing coal and railway carts and tank cars and all that stuff. But from there to now, it's still so freaking relevant. You can really visualize it this way too. But it is so incredible, the amount of work for, 70, 80, or maybe 90 years plus, right? How can our heart stand all of that work and live to, possibly be 100? How can it stand that? So most people, me being one of them, we believe that our heart, it's working all of the time. But it's not. It's not. There is a definite period after each contraction. So when your heart beats, let's say it's at a moderate rate of 70 pulses per minute, the heart is actually working only 9 hours out of the 24 hours. Therefore, it rests, its rest period total is 15 hours a day. Your heart is resting 15 hours a day to keep you alive. It's needed. It's incredible. So a few people here. Winston Churchill, in the book, it talks about when he was in his late 60s, he was able to work 16 hours a day, directing the war efforts. He did reports, dictating orders, making phone calls, making life-changing decisions. Where did he do all of that work? From his bed. From his bed. He worked from his bed every morning until 11 o'clock. Like I said, reading reports, orders, making calls, making decisions. And then again, which is just like, holy crap, like to me, I think, how did he find the time to do this? But you make the time. We've discussed this on one of our most recent episodes, is that after lunch, he went to bed again and slept for another hour. He didn't have fatigue, anxiety, worry. He didn't have to cure any of that. He prevented it. How? He rested frequently and was more apt to working longer hours because of it. John D. Rockefeller, he took half-hour naps in his office every single day at noon. Rest isn't a matter of doing nothing. Because for me, I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this, is when I'm resting, I always felt like I could be doing something with that time. Like it was almost like a shame on me. I shouldn't be resting right now. I should be doing. But you need to understand that rest is repair. Rest is needed. You know, it also talks about championship rodeo athletes, how some of them carried like cots or beds with them, and they lie down and nap every afternoon before their performance. They can be short naps. And I mean, some people, for me, I'm thinking like, okay, how can one even fall asleep? I would lay there and think about everything possible. But as long as you're just resting, right? You don't have to fall into a deep sleep. Just lay down and rest. Unplug. I like to say unplug. Henry Ford, we all know who Henry Ford is, lived an outstanding life. His secret is that he said that he'd never stand up when he had the opportunity to sit down, and he would not sit down if he had the opportunity to lie down. So are you feeling worn out, or maybe you're exhausted midday? This is where I should be like, plug energy fizz sticks or drink our greens, which, yeah, nourishing your body is so important, but rest is where it's at. Give yourself a vacation every single day. It was funny. We were on vacation with my in-laws and my husband's entire family, and someone had said, they're like, Mandee, you work every day. You know, we're on vacation. I was like, you know what? My response to that was, my life is a vacation. My life is a vacation because I get to choose the things I'm doing. And I do, what's amazing is I do work until burnout, but I've gotten so much better at working almost in spurts. Now I can do that. Not most people that like are in an office or have people like to clock into, or you have to be like on it all the time. Like, yeah, there's ways you can fit this rest in, but that's what I love is I treat my life like every day is a vacation. And so how can you do that? You know, if you are in an office, you know, if you have your own office, I guess we could say, is stretch out, you know, relax while you're on the phone. I know for me, especially when I went to school for it, they're always like, you need to be like standing tall and like in position and kind of mirroring the person across from you, whether you're on a Zoom call or you're in a meeting. Now, I'm not saying like sitting, I don't know, what is it? Is it cross-legged Indian style? Is that what we call it? I don't know what we call it anymore. But like sitting Indian style when you're in a really important meeting, no. But like if you're on the phone and instead of pacing or being all tensed up, just sit back. You know, if you can be in a recliner or lay on the floor and just be relaxed. Stretch out, get comfy. That goes such a long way. That's like a mini vacation, right? Hey, here's a good one for you. Billy Pauch, yes. He notoriously took naps during lunchtime. He probably still does. I don't live at home anymore, so I'm unaware of my father's routines. But anyone that knows him, has worked for him, they knew lunchtime, you do not disturb Billy Pauch at lunchtime. I never quite understood it, but at the time, I was just like, wow, my dad's really tired a lot. Like, something's wrong. This is weird. No, I don't nap. I'm not a napper. But it makes sense now. He would be so energized to like just tackle the rest of the day. He'd come home, you know, my mom would have lunch ready and he'd eat lunch and maybe he'd nap for a good 30 minutes, and it was like clockwork. And it was so funny because it's like, well, it's dad's nap time. My father takes naps. And I just thought it was so weird. But now I'm like, oh my God, my father is a freaking genius. And this book, gosh, he's probably going to eventually at some point listen or watch this, and he's going to be like, yep, I am genius. But it just helped him tackle so much, because it always amazed me how much he'd always be in the race shop working. He'd be making phone calls. He'd be driving to the races. He'd be working. He'd be racing. And he'd be up until like 2 a.m. or in the shop until midnight. And I would just be exhausted just thinking about that. But it had me thinking, like, how? It's almost like he had more hours in the day. But how's that even possible? Which ties in what had me wanting to share this with you guys is while I was reading, this chapter in the book, I remembered whenever we'd drive to the races, same thing with my dad. We'd be driving, we'd get 10, 15 minutes down the road. He'd put it in park, or we'd get to the gas station, put it in park, and he'd swap. One of the crew guys or mom or whomever would start driving. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. Like, Dad, you're capable of driving. But he would take a nap on our way to the races. Now, I know not all can do that, but if you can, do it. Seriously, do it. Like, life-changing. There's a Billy Pauch secret I'm telling you guys right now, is he would take that nap, But as soon as we rolled into the track, he'd perk up and he'd be rejuvenated, he'd be alert, and he'd be ready to tackle the night ahead. And I mean, there's plenty of secrets that come from him, but if you know his win list, all that he's done, this is just one of the tiny little things that my father did and probably still does to really accomplish all that he has accomplished is rest. And I it's like, we always used to joke and say, like, in our family, Sunday's Billy Pauch Day, because, there's no work to be done on Sundays. Like, you just don't do it. And I never understood it. And now it's like, man, do you learn so much the older you get. But so I'm not a napper. I never napped. I'm a go until I literally crash and burn. Mike will come home and my eyes will be like bleeding out of my sockets, and I'm just like, I can't function. But this just makes so much sense. It makes so much sense. It was that aha moment, light bulb went off, and I thought, I need to share this with you because this is too good not to share. We're always in a hurry. In a hurry to get things done. I feel like, isn't that a country song? I'm in a hurry to get things done. Yeah. So we're always in a hurry. We want to get to the next destination. We want to get to the next thing. We go until we burn out, until, it hurts. That is our problem right there. We go until we burn all ends possible. Our eyes hurt, our body aches, our feet are dragging. You come up for air and you're starving, and you look outside, you're like, is it light or is it day? Like, is it daytime? Is it nighttime? What is it outside right now? But okay. So let me backtrack on my stutters for a hot second there. I get excited when I talk. I'm unsure at this very moment if I am physically capable of napping, but I am absolutely going to be implementing this in my own fashion of like, okay, lunchtime, I'm going to sit on the couch and I'm just going to like peacefully eat, right? Or meditate. I love meditating. I've really been working on doing that, just little ways of just resting not only your body, but your mind, because it is always going. So if you can't take a nap at noon, that's okay. You can at least try to lie down for an hour before dinner. Now this one's super interesting. So pick this piece up. Lying down an hour before dinner. It's cheaper than a cocktail. Love that. But over a long stretch, it's 5,467 times more effective for you. If you can sleep for an hour, say around 5, 6, or 7 o'clock, you can add 1 hour a day to your waking life. Yes. You're probably thinking, how's it even possible? We all get the same 24 hours. This is correct. I'm sorry. This isn't like we're going to get 25 hours, but we kind of can. This is kind of what we're doing here. A physical worker can do more work if he takes more time out of rest. So again, in this book, what is the book called? It's Is this How to Stop Worrying and Start Living? I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It's freaking genius. It's by Dale Carnegie. If you're really enjoying this episode, go get the book. Just go get the book right now. I mean, continue listening because this is just like a little bitty tidbit piece that is in this entire book, and it's freaking amazing. So in the book, it talks about a gentleman who worked as a scientific management engineer. Again, listen, hey, this is a book from the 1900s, so bear with me. But he had observed the men that were working like laborious jobs, and I guess they were loading approximately 12.5 tons of pig iron per man each day onto freight cars. Now, imagine that, lifting all of that weight, physically lifting that by hand. They were so exhausted by noon. Like, talk about crash and burn. So what this guy did was he made a study and figured that with all the fatigue factors involved, these guys shouldn't be doing 12.5 tons per day. They should be doing 47 tons per day. He figured they should do almost 4 times as much as they were doing and not even be exhausted. I'm exhausted just thinking about that. Like, how is that even possible? So he put it to the test. He had a worker pick up a quote unquote a pig, and he had that worker pick it up, walk, sit down and rest. Pick it up, walk, sit down and rest, pick it up, put it on the cart. So can you guess what happened? That guy carried 47 tons of pig iron each day, while the other men only carried 12.5 per man per day. This is the math. Are we mathing here? So this guy who picking up, sitting down, resting, picking up, sitting down, rested, did 4 times more than every other man there. He worked approximately 26 minutes out of the hour by doing that. That's how much time he was working. So you're thinking, okay, he worked 26 minutes. Well, what about the other, 34 minutes? He rested those 34 minutes. You're thinking, oh my God, okay. He rested more than he worked. Yeah, he did almost 4 times as much work than the others. Just let that sink in. That is how you can achieve to add 1 hour extra per day to your life. You hear me say it all the time. Work smarter, not harder. And I know I'm just as guilty to work until I crash and burn hard and have nothing left in me, where I just usually might cry. I say might, but I usually do. When I burn out and I'm like just struggling, I don't know. We all do it. We all do it to ourselves. But I also know those days when I unplug for a little bit, when I rest and I rejuvenate and I revive myself, even like I said, if it's like, I don't know, it could be reading a book for a couple minutes. Like you're working and it's like, let me go over here and just kind of, again, step away from what you're doing, unplug. You come back in and it's almost like you have a new outlook on things. I get so much more done when I do that. So let me ask you this. How can you find time to rest every single day? If the Army can do it and they can succeed, I'm pretty sure we can do it too. So let's start doing what the Army does and take frequent rest breaks. Do what your heart does. Rest before you get tired. And you'll add 1 hour a day to your waking life. So this just speaks so much life into me. This is honestly something I needed to hear. And I just felt like, you know what, you probably need this too. I'm pretty sure we all need this. Like my parents definitely need it. My husband needs it. My brother needs it. My friends need it. You need it. You need it. You know, how can we get that extra hour pretty much back into our life? Like we want to accomplish a lot of things in our lives, right? Our clock is ticking, unfortunately. As soon as we came out of that womb, man, it's been ticking. So instead of thrashing and going until you burn out, until you crash and you can't go anymore, rest before you hit burnout. And I'm telling you this is something I am 1,000% implementing right here, right now, moving forward. As soon as I start, like before I even feel, that getting anxious, fatigue, irritated, I gotta walk away, go take a nap, go unplug, go meditate, go do something, stretch, lay out, stare at the sky, go lay in the grass. I mean, I know right now, if you're listening to this, it's wintertime. Wherever you are, do what you gotta do. So if you enjoyed this, please make sure to share this on your social media. That goes such a long way. That is the biggest thing I can ask of you, is to share this, let your friends hear it, let your family hear it, your loved ones hear it. And I really hope you enjoyed this. So make sure you are subscribed to all of the things that we have to offer. We have podcasts, we've got YouTube, we're all over social media. But of course, most importantly, we will catch you all next week. Oh my God, here we are. Mandy's making up words again. I meant to say next week, but next Tuesday. So I made up took. So we'll catch you guys next took. All right. Thank you.